Welcome. Hello. Ooh, I've got uneven levels here. Sorry about that. That should be more like it. Yeah, welcome. Today, what are we going to have a look at today, Well, it's going to be one from my Best Albums 2024 list. So far, there have been quite a few good ones. I'm just working through them as solidly and as constantly as possible. So let's just I'm just gonna get into Twitch over here on my phone so I can see what everybody is saying. Okay. All right. So yeah, Big Brave. Now these are a really interesting band, I think. They are outspoken. They are very emotionally charged musically and personally, it seems. There's only 3 of them, but they make an absolutely enormous sound. Now, when I say enormous, I do mean loud as opposed to texturally crazy. It's much more of a sort of primitive, earthy approach to music, without too much. I don't want to say without too much subtlety, but definitely without too many bells and whistles. No frills attached here. They've released about 6 albums, I think. I first found them on Leaving None But Small Birds, which I have been meaning to come back to. It's an album with them and The Body, who are another crazy band, and it was really unusual. And I think that one is actually surprisingly more conventional than their main body of work. I've recently listened to Au-delà, which I think is their first album. That was good. I really liked Nature Morte, which is from 2023. I really thought that was great. And their latest one, A Chaos of Flowers, seems to be going with the same kind of visual aesthetic, doesn't it? There we've got some lovely flowers, maybe not so lovely exactly, and then we've got some chaos of flowers here, which in a way look more lovely, but there's definitely something dark going on there. Anyway, let's get to it. I Felt a Funeral. Okay. Okay. So lovely melody, very, very folk. This big jump up at the beginning, da da, perfect 5th up, and then we go da da. Okay. Other than that, the intervals are just small consecutive notes. Very basic melody. It's just this open 5th with one variation, and then we go down and we have one variation there. Like I say, no bells and whistles. In the background we've got some stringy type instrument playing in this kind of range, not doing anything too showy, just holding this chord really, and then there's something lower down, somewhere around that, which is really rumbly. There's a weird vocal processing on the voice, obviously, which makes it a little more stuttery. It sort of feels like a delay that's not quite coming through properly. It's a bit of a strange feel. But this is also pretty soft. Let's see if we can continue that. So, melody there. Very basic even. Yeah, so lots of spectral versions of the voice going between the earphones, just glitching in and out, which is a lovely effect, a little bit creepy, very atmospheric. This whole beginning is a classic kind of folk atmosphere build, yeah, it's really just holding that big chord, and then the melody is the only thing moving over the top. The second part of the melody was just the small part of the beginning going between those two notes, the 5 and the 4 of the key. We don't even know if it's major or minor yet. We haven't had a third in this at all. We then go up the octave for the third part of the melody, and we get the Dorian 6th, which is nice. And then let me just check that last part of the melody again. Yeah. So it's almost like we've got two different parts of the voice. We've got these low notes, da, 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 and then we've got this upper extension, da, 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 doing mainly those notes, and da, right at the top. We never have something leading between these two sections. We're missing essentially a fourth's worth of space in the scale there. They just always jump from that fifth back down, which, you know, adds quite a lot of character to that particular interval, and it's really the calling card of this song so far. So this instrument that's holding this fifth is also phasing in and out, just like the vocals are popping in and out of both ears. The vocals are also in octaves. Okay, vocals are also in octaves, so it's not just this one here, but we've also got that low one. Okay, that's a really common thing to do in folk music. Having a higher and a lower pitch means that it's more sing-alongable. I think that's sort of by the by here though, because this is probably not really meant to be sung along with, but having the two octaves and no other harmony adds a very sort of timeless, mysterious quality to it. Yeah, a real, you know, it's the strongest resonant pair you can have, unless they're just exactly on the same note, and then we don't really have a pair of resonances. Having that octave makes this really strong set of resonances moving all the way together. It's a really cool thing to do. Yeah, so we've just arrived at a sudden change of timbre. Okay. So, very heavy, distorted guitar there. It feels like it's about to burst. It feels like it's going through a super loud amp, but being played very quietly. It's doing all the same notes as the melody and some of the same orders, but we have now got our minor third in there, okay, which is this B here. So basically we're in G sharp minor, but really with this major sixth, G sharp Dorian. There's a potential for an unexpected flat 2 as well, but we'll just assume that's not there. That would be pretty weird. Yeah, so G sharp minor is what we're in. We've got all the notes except the second, so we can make that assumption. Yeah, so far we've had really just 3 repetitions of the same material, 4 different melody phrases sung in a particular order by the singer, and then the same melody phrases over some different lyrics. And then we've got a very similar thing done by the guitar, slightly different, but very similar. So it's following a strophic structure, which you would get in old folk songs a lot of the time. It's just verse, 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 verse. It's just constant verses, no problem with it. It really suits, I want to call it monotonous music, but really it's just like, it's music that takes its time. Okay, slightly thicker texture here because we've got that guitar lingering on just on the root note, the G sharp. Okay, and there's some extra high resonances. Yeah, different resonant notes are coming through there. Maybe feedback from the guitar amp, actually, that from holding this note for too long, ooh, came through. Where would that be? Well, it wouldn't be on that string, but maybe you could get it somewhere. Don't know. It might not have been a harmonic, but it definitely sounded feedbacky. Just these sudden different resonances that don't feel like they've been plucked. They feel like they're just growing out of the sound. Yeah, nice. Okay, another verse we had there. And this feels like another guitar verse. But the guitar is a little more free, shall we say. It's definitely resonating harder. It's very variable in tone. Sometimes we're getting these really clean notes, and then sometimes we're getting a load of mess on it as well. Yeah, so as well as that, we've got a real change in dynamics. Sometimes these notes are really soft and sometimes they're coming through really strongly. So it does feel like a sort of bridled beast that is chomping at the bit. Okay, a new instrument here. We've got a heavy distorted bass with a lot of the top end cut. It's very murky sounding. Okay, and what's it doing? It's giving us a different harmonic texture. We've had this going on for the whole time, and then we get a low B, bo, 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 do. So that's like the flat 3, the flat 4, no, sorry, the 4, the 5, and then the 1. Okay. Not very out there as chord progressions go, doesn't have to be. It really fits the feeling, it fits the build that we have been getting. Okay, and the guitar fitting with it too. And since that bass came in, we've got a clear feeling of tempo, which I wasn't so clear on before. With the open space and the melody definitely not feeling like it was stuck to a grid. We didn't get this feel, but now the drums and the bass have come in, and we're definitely in 3 beats, in sets of 3. 1, 2, 3, really slowly as well. Ba, da, da. Yeah, very languorous. And both of those instruments so thick. The drums very much the opposite, very soft, played with what sounds like brushes, and we've got that one hit of tambourine every 2 bars. Yeah, nice. Okay, a crash cymbal, but so softly hit. Yeah, do you feel that burgeoning ferocity in the guitar? The bass doesn't feel like it's really going anywhere. It feels like it's more or less hit its stride already, but the guitar just keeps this unpredictable nature bubbling under the surface. It's got a lot more potential on show now, and yeah, it's really gonna reach its peak, I'm sure. It doesn't feel like any part of the guitar part is planned either. Okay, we've got the vocals as well now, so we've almost got two melodies. Interesting there where it suddenly disappeared. We got a small moment of respite from the really heavy feelings. And drops out. Really interesting. We've got some kick drum on the first beat of the bars. Tambourine there and kick. Really just adding to more depth. Yeah. Okay, another crash there. But very soft again, really not taking up lots of the environment on these songs. We're still following the strophic nature of the song. We are doing strophic songs, so we always get the same melody bits at the right times. But because there are different words in each verse, the words are not fitting. Okay, we don't have the words. The words aren't fitting to the melody in the same way. So each verse feels dynamic in that way as well. Not that that's ever really a bad thing if they fit with the exact melody line every single time. It can be a bad thing. So sometimes it is. If you've really crowbarred in some lyrics just to make the rhythm work, that can be really awful. It's much more authentic doing this kind of thing. Yeah, so this guitar, just notes in the scale. And noise. It's very seductive because of this repressed power. It's so, yeah, it's a bit sexy. Okay, and the guitar is now pretty much gone. Just got the drums and the bass and the vocals, of course. The vocals feel very, very clear. They haven't got the processing on them now. There's no spectral ghost voices around. That bass really is just keeping on the same path it's always been going on. B, C sharp, D sharp, G sharp. Yeah. And that's going to guide us out of this one. Yeah. And we could go on for about an hour with this thing. There would be no specific need to stop it, but there it does stop, and it stops quite subtly. So that's I Felt a Funeral. Now, okay, so we started there with quite a weird sound. Like, well, that sound might be familiar to quite a lot of people. That's basically the sound of something not being earthed properly. It's a really common sound to hear in general guitar tech. Normally when a guitar is plugged into an amp, if it's on, say, you know, a bridge or a neck pickup, we often just get that that sound of the single pickup. I'm not entirely sure what causes it in that case. Something doesn't filter out, basically. So strange stuff. Anyway, it sounds strange, but when you're familiar with that kind of instrument, it isn't actually so strange. But in the context of the song, it does add this slightly uncomfortable atmosphere. Maybe it makes it comfortable for some people. You can also probably hear a bit of chorus on that as well, just by the way that the sound sounds a bit square wavy. But anyway. Okay. Interesting. It feels very similar to the previous one. We're down tuned to a low E flat. And we're doing an octave thing there. I think we might go lower. Yeah. So we get these low E flats, and then we get a G flat and a D flat. So that's the pattern. Pretty simple, just going between these two chords here. Let's call this just an E flat octave chord. And even though this is a dyad, it's a power chord because it's the fifth, so we know it as a specific type of chord. G flat power chord. Yeah, not really committing to any unusual notes there. We've started a bit heavier than we ended, I think, with both guitars and the drums just emerging there. The drums still are playing pretty soft, apart from on those beats. Yeah, so it's how I would count it is a slow 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and on the 1 and 2 we get a lot more power from the drums than we get on the other beats. It's a really strange thing, but it does really set up that heavy first step in the bars, and then we come back. Yeah, especially on the and. Boom. Boom. Yeah, because that bass drum is really dominating everything. We've got such low resonances in this music. It's very unlike what you would get from a lot of other music. So this melody doesn't sound like a folk melody in the same way as the other one does. It's doing pentatonic scale, major pentatonic. So in that way, well, it's major pentatonic, but we've got E flat at the bottom. So it's really the minor, E minor pentatonic. The major and minor pentatonic are modes of each other. It doesn't really matter which one it is. The context really tells you it's E flat minor pentatonic. Okay, and those are our 5 notes that we've got for. We're a lot higher than we were before. Well, our highest note is higher than all the notes in the previous song, and we're using it much more as well. So it feels more impassioned, less mysterious and atmospheric, just a bit more emotion put in. Okay, yeah, and then that note just there, and maybe the last note of the melody just went off into the atmosphere. There was a big reverb and a bit of delay on those but not really on the main part of the melody. So it's just for those notes to linger on after the melody has finished. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so our main part of the melody has been in this E minor pentatonic, E flat minor pentatonic, and then this bit, we get the major third, the G natural, which is a really interesting note to get because it means then we're in tertiary shift area. So between this and this has the G flat in it, and this now has a G in it, which then cancels out as we get to that G flat. Also what you could call false relations. Yeah, it's a really nice idea, the G going to the G flat. Although you can hear it lingering on again in that echo. Yeah. Okay, it doesn't quite feel like a major one there. So maybe it was just a mispitch, but it's really a sweet mispitch if so. Doesn't this feel heavier? I think it must be heavier. The drums are a little more active. A bit more in the melody too. It is really interesting, that backbeat. 1, 2. 1, 2. Just such an overwhelming bass hit there. So big. It just mutes everything else. It's like sidechain percussion, but just the actual legitimate version of that. Yeah. I'm thinking it was a mispitch that first time, but I don't mind it. Okay, bum bum. We're getting another guitar line through here. Ba-da. So it's on this E one, it's E flat, doing the fifth, and then on this one, ba-da, we do the fifth to the first. So it's just filling out the chord space with a few slightly higher notes, still very deep down, not approaching the pitch of the melody. It's just wavering in the middle, isn't it? It's very bluesy. And isn't the voice very affecting? It's going between these cries, ah, and then very, very soft. Such interesting player with dynamics. I'm a big fan. Yeah. So this is maybe we could call this the chorus section. Oh. That's really fun. So yeah, sudden drop out there, and the it's not, but it's more close to that anyway. So we get the augmented fourth moving up to the fifth, and what is lingering in the echo there, which keeps coming back, the delay, it's just that augmented fourth, not the fifth. So it feels really disconcerting. Basically halfway through the song, are we suddenly going to change into a new thing? Is it a beat switch? Wow, some crazy filter explosions on the bass there. Okay, and now we're letting the beast free. the guitars going up into a higher octave, seemingly with a load of string noise around it. Oh, and there's a bit of feedback. And we're just getting those heavy drum hits on the first beat of the bar now. And really, all that's going on around it is just reinforcement of this E flat 5, E flat power chord. That's all the notes that are going on here. Even the feedback is that. It's so unpredictable. Sometimes it's massive and sometimes we just get a little more. There was another note that burst through there. The F, and it did it again. But not this time. Keep you guessing. Oh, real nice squeal of feedback there. Up on the, yeah, somewhere, maybe a little, what would that be, 15th harmonic? Really nice, yeah, just the major 7th, which really wants to go up to the E flat, but it doesn't. It's just a held note within the resonance. Oh, good stuff. Yeah. Oh. So we're maintaining the rhythm even though we've got just this open space in between each of these beats. There's nothing seemingly deliberate happening there. We're just holding resonance and the guitar is doing a specific individual thing every time. Such heavy hits, and then the emerging distortion feels like just a wash of noise. Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice to hear the ripples after those bass hits, kick drum hits. They go. It's really great. And that's that. Is it? We've still got. Oh. Clean? Well, not quite clean. We've still got a little bit of delay. Or, yeah, it could be delay. It's definitely through a vibrato, though, as well, which is interesting, or a tremolo. Doing the same pattern as we were doing before. Okay, and there's the vocals. There is also, in the left ear, oh, just that note lingers on. Okay, and there's some extra guitars doing slightly different things. This kind of thing. Ah, and that is very clearly the major third there. Very clearly and very deliberately. So I did hear it right the first time, and they just kept it from me up till this really bittersweet ending. Ah, yeah, it is sitting a little low. It sort of changes in pitch. Oh! No resolution at the end. We're not going back. We're staying on G flat. Which, over time, the mind becomes comfortable with that as our resting place. But when it happens, we really anticipate going back to that. But it's never going to come. It's the end of the song. Yeah, everything's off. Chanson pour mon ombre, which I believe, good start, I believe means song for my shadow. I believe, oh no, yeah, no, it's from the word umbra, which I think is in Latin at least. I was going to say it was a Basque word, but I think the Basque word is silhouette or silou maybe. Silou, and then the French have made that into silhouette. That would make sense. Anyways, moving on. It's a song. Okay. 3 notes. And then a strange chord which has a... Sorry about that. It has a feel of B minor about it. Or maybe E. Let's have another listen to it. Yeah, so it feels like it's there to begin with, and then we do get this low E resonance as well. Yeah, sort of feeling somewhere like B minor or E minor tonality. The long E in the melody would sort of suggest E minor. But it's very thick with notes. It's not clear what that chord is. It's got, you know, these kinds of things. Is it an E major chord? Probably not. Is it an E minor chord? Not really. Is it a B minor chord? No, it's also not that. It's somewhere in between those. We've got an acoustic guitar here, or something very similar to an acoustic guitar, which sounds a lot more sort of tinny sounding. I'm going to sneeze. A lot more tinny sounding than the other instruments that we've been having so far. These really deep, thick guitars. Yeah. Nonetheless, that guitar, which is an acoustic guitar, is through some kind of distortion, so it's really hitting. But it doesn't feel too loud. It doesn't feel like it's trying to be loud. It just is distorted in the background. Okay, so things are coming into more clarity now. I think we still have that at the bottom, but we had that in one of the ears. So yeah, we're looking at E minor. Oh yeah, well there we got the confusion in cheap, no, what's it, in smart, in flush reverse. What is the phrase that I'm looking for? In, let's just say we got it very clearly. I'm struggling for a phrase there, but yeah, we've got a B minor chord very clearly played very dramatically and flowerily by the acoustic guitar, followed by a low E. So yeah, it's we're trying to occupy both of those spaces almost at the same time. Yeah, so we've got these two different melodic bits, and then this lower one, da, 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 which is sometimes just da, 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 and da, 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 da. Spelling out almost all of the scale again. We've got a minor sixth here if we're in B minor, or if we're in E minor, we don't have the sixth yet, but we do have the seventh, and we have the flat third. So we're missing maybe the second and the sixth if we're in that key. Oh no, we've got the second. So it really is just the sixth in that key, or if we're in this key, we're missing the second, which would likely be that, but we haven't heard it yet. Yeah, really madcap guitar. It doesn't feel at all planned. Maybe it is, but it feels really spur of the moment to me, and full of vital energy. And there are also spinny electric guitars in both ears, just doing little things in the background, changing note, maybe just playing one note at a time, whereas the acoustic guitar and the vocals are just alternating with each other. So really the vocals do something, and then when they've done something, the guitar does its thing. Okay, it occasionally interrupts a bit. That's crazy noise. But yeah, still all around the B minor with an E as well. low E. So loud, it's really great. So blown out, it's just hitting that distortion wave. Yeah, so this is a kind of second part of the melody. It might have come on earlier actually, I was a bit distracted by the guitar. But yeah, we've got a second part of the melody now. We're not just doing those two bits. But now we're back to that first bit, and the guitar really is not letting up. Oh, but then it does. It's always just outfoxing our expectations. Now it's softened. It does feel like there's more going on in the atmosphere, more of those guitars. There's a more clear low resonance going in there as well. Oh, so it is building, but that doesn't prepare you for the sudden entry of the drums. Yeah, really ad-lib drums. The drums are now taking over the feel of the acoustic guitar now that we've got that really thick electric guitar again. The drums are just playing really freely. I couldn't tell you if there's a time signature here. Things are coming back to crashes, but everything's so free that it doesn't seem like you can tell. So yeah, this is our second part of the melody. You could argue that it's an inversion of the ba-da-ba that we've had in the first section, so they're opposites to some degree, these two sections of vocals. But could we say very easily that either of these sections are verse and chorus? Not really, and that's not just because we don't know what the words are. It's actually because the ensemble is so similar between these two sections. It's hard to say that one is a chorus because the idea of verse and chorus is in opposition to each other. If the verse and the chorus are basically interchangeable, then they both have the same qualities. They should be called the same thing. Generally, a chorus, generally it's more sing-along. It doesn't normally start the piece, and it normally has quite a lot of repetition in it in comparison to the verses, which are more differently lyricked in general. But these two sections, because almost everything is staying the same, it's just this vocal melody that is changing, as well as the massively unpredictable drums and acoustic guitar. Because only the melody is changing in this particular way, it feels more like it is the second version of a verse, the second verse version. Verse B, if you like, rather than verse 2. Yeah, and the guitar is also giving us somewhat a crazy feel, but the drums really are taking it here. And they are a bit distorted themselves as well. You can just hear it when the snare gets really heavy. But now everything is disappearing. And we've still got that ambiguous chord. We've had it the whole piece. The acoustic is back, and we can hear more clearly those guitars in the ears as well. Just one note being held on. It's an E. So let's say we were in E minor, it doesn't really matter. It was ambiguous all the way through. Just one held chord, which sort of was vacillating between E and B. Very interesting, very moody. Canon in canon. Okay, let's start that again. I'm sure I can work this out. Yeah, it's definitely down-tuned somehow, or up-tuned. Something like this. Yeah, it's a nice chord. We're looking at kind of E6. Yeah. And then it suddenly changes on that second. Ha! Yeah. To more of an F sharp power chord. Or F sharp minor maybe. Yeah, F sharp minor. With woo, coming over the top. Woo, also. I'm just going to tune back because I'll never find anything. So it would be an F sharp minor, and then we also get those two going over the top, the 7th and the 9th. So F sharp minor 9 after a nice E6. Suddenly we are on an F sharp minor 9. They're not too distant from each other, but they are thick, multi-note chords with upper extensions. Lovely stuff. Let's keep going. Okay, another slow groove here, but we are in time. It feels like it's a 4, 3, 4, 1. Okay, and our chord progression is pretty straightforward. Yeah, we have this F sharp minor 9, and then just to a C sharp, and then back. C sharp. It would be C sharp minor probably, but it's just a C sharp power chord as far as I can see. It might even just be a C sharp octave. Oh. But then we got something unexpected. Well, an A, it definitely doesn't have a C sharp in. And then to C sharp minor. Let's hear all of that again, just so we get a better clear. There's the E6, the F sharp minor 9, 3, lovely squeals of feedback. There's the C sharp, back to F sharp minor 9. That bass moves. Whoa, that's bass. It's not the guitar doing anything there. To the C sharp, the F sharp minor, and we've also got a clean guitar doing its own thing over the top. There's our A, and now we're at the C sharp. Yeah, and so that cleaner guitar in the right ear did something like that when we got to the C sharp. And that's really saying C sharp minor 7, got those notes. And now the melody comes in. Very soft. Okay. So now we've given up that F sharp minor for now. We're going between the A and the C sharp minor. And the melody is really simple. We've got another drop down fifth. 4 4 4 5 5 1. It feels like we had a little extra flat 6 on the top there, just very quickly. The main thing about this one, the first one, and to some degree bits of the second and third, is that even though we have these walls of distorted noise, a lot of it is really restrained. Not taking the full brunt of our ears, or our ears aren't taking the full brunt of it, I guess. That they're more like lakes of black oil. That's how I would see it. Really thick, and you don't want to fall in there, but it's not a sea. It's not constantly with these heavy waves coming towards you. There's no storm, really. Sometimes there's storms, but mostly it's soft waves. Little bit of a departure there, melody-wise. So we go down the fourth. We normally haven't gone down the fourth in these before. We normally go up to the fifth and then down. Well, it's a very small difference, and just to fit the words, no doubt. Okay, so there we would have expected slow to A and back to C, but this time we just kept on the C, one extra beat, and then we're back down at the F sharp 9. Really well written. Such a difficult thing to do, to write a slow chord pattern and not jump the gun, but yeah, that's really well done here. Leaving that extra beat. You go, huh? I thought we were expecting, now we're at this. Yeah. Okay, and this is very similar to how it was close to the beginning. The drums really just giving us ride cymbals on the beat, very little else. So soft. It is A Chaos of Flowers. What a good title. Yeah. So we definitely are getting the flat 6 at the top there. Oh, I didn't notice at first, but this is not going to the A in this new verse section. We're actually going to the F sharp and then back to the C. Yeah, so we don't have the A here. We're more like the beginning section, I guess, in that we're using the same chords as it, but that they are reversed in priority. We're spending much more time on the C sharp and much less on the F sharp. Sorry, exactly what I said just then is wrong. We are actually now doing the melody over the F sharp in the main, and then the C sharp is just on that last beat. So the F sharp is now doing the job of the C sharp from the previous verse, and the C sharp is now doing the job of the A from the previous verse. But we did then get the switch. Just that A there, switching it back to the C sharp. And now we've got the A again and the C sharp. So we had the same melody over a different set of chords. It was barely perceptible. It had a different feel to it if you're listening really close. But it's so subtle. And it's so subtle despite this noisy atmosphere. It doesn't even feel like this is particularly building. I feel like there's a little bit more ambient noise, but it doesn't feel like it's suddenly going to explode now. There's our C sharp. The main guitar has disappeared. We've still got some guitar noise. Oh, it's back for a moment. We've got some maybe synthesizers going on here. We're back to F sharp being the main thing here. Yeah, that clean guitar in the right ear is quite nice. The vocals now are still there, just for individual notes on maybe just on the second beat of the bar. Wasn't there this time. most things are not moving here at all. The only thing that is moving is that that guitar in the right ear, which is doing something a little faster. But it doesn't really feel like it's driving. It feels like it's just adding some filigree on top of this immensely slow beat. Oh, what's going on here though? We've got those heavy bass kicks again. We've got some more open hi-hat maybe? And we've got a totally different kind of chord set here. Let's go back to here. So there's our F sharp. This is fine. Yeah. So 4 chords here. D. We're not going to say whether they're major or minor. It's almost implied by the harmony, but this is what we've got. We've got D, and really it's just the one note in each of these. It's just so heavy, with so rich in harmonics that we do feel like it's a full chord. Yeah, so we have the D, C sharp, F sharp, and B. We've had the C sharp and the F sharp before, but both D and B are new. And the D especially, because it's just higher than the C sharp, it's really feeling like a new sound, and more intense and more troubled sound. When we just had these, it felt a bit placid, it felt very sweet. But now these new ones are bringing the darkness in. And the melody still sounds very similar. But that is a newer section. So before we were there, we're now just using different notes of the melody, not out there notes, but it just gives it a different feel. Yeah. So the guitar is, as usual, just adding some walls of unexpected noise. The drums are more in control, definitely, than the last track. There's not much going on with them, but those extra cymbal sounds are really filling out that higher pitch range, making it a lot more fizzy and seem a lot more excited, tense as well. Yeah, the melody feels a little more freeform now, and it's gone. We do also have some piano in here. I wasn't sure, but we are getting some piano chords, not big chords, and they're operating only a little bit in their own space, which is why it was so hard to hear. But they definitely were getting some piano chords in here. That's a new instrument for this album, but they've made it fit in with the distorted atmosphere. It's not very perceptible. It's just more than we have. There's an A rather than a B. Okay, so we've given up our B there. Ooh, wow. Some weird noises coming in there on that kind of E flat and E noise from maybe a very echoey singer. Okay, and our chord sequence has gone. Now we're back at C sharp minor. And now we just have some drums. Yeah, 2 different cymbals. One on every beat in the left ear, one on every second beat in the other ear. And there's actually a pedal hi-hat as well, I think. Yeah, so fizzy. What a strange ending, but very, very powerful. Yeah. Just, it, you know, just fades out. The chords, they're doing their powerful thing, and then they just sort of finish on this and then stay there, and then they're gone. We've just got those cymbal sounds. You wouldn't hear that very often if you listen to music. Go listen to more music. Okay, there's our D. It's a little bit sharper than it was just before, or maybe I'm flat. I'm definitely going to have to retune here. Do. Yeah, so we're in a sharp place. A song for Marie Part 3. Low D in the bass. Even lower D after that. But relatively clean. Feels like there's some drums in another century as well. But we're really painting D major, slightly sharp D major tonality here. D7. That's nice. 7 really sharp. Oh. Oh, baby. G and B flat emerging out of the fog. They've faded in. Each of these guitar notes is fading out. They're probably using a volume knob, I imagine, to get the guitar nice and quiet and then roll it back up when we've got the new 2 notes. So it's a very atmospheric thing to do, and these are really nice. What's this? Yeah. It's the same as this, which is don't go changing to try and please me. Just the Way You Are by Billy Joel, which seems an interesting touchstone. I imagine that's not what they're going for, but it's the same harmony. And that is the chromatically altered subdominant chord, G minor. In D major, we would expect G major with a B, but instead we get G minor with a B flat. And it has a very powerful feeling, but I have got a bit too used to that sound myself. But if you love it, good for you. It is a really great sound. Yeah, so we're going from that D to D7, and then, yeah, just up to, oh, and one further this time. So we're moving those sixths up. A and F sharp, B flat and G, C and A. The C and A don't add a new harmonic context like the B flat did, but they do still sound great. They come as an surprise because we didn't have them last time. Yeah, the bass is just going between those 2 octaves. Whoa, whoa. There's a little bit of a squelchy sound as well from time to time. We did also have some moving up there as well. Same kind of thing, sixths moving up on the guitar. Yeah, C is coming through. Yeah, on each of these the C is coming through, which is interesting. Maybe they're doing an unusual tuning, because we can't get a C very easily on those. Could do that. I imagine that's not what's happening, because the C doesn't feel as strong as the others. Maybe it's a sympathetic resonance from another string. Still moving up in sixths, and we've got to this one now, which with the D's at the bottom is quite unusual. We were having D major at the bottom, and this is actually both of those notes in the sixth there dropped a semitone up here, so it's looking like a D diminished chord. So those two notes moving around is really giving us different feels wherever they go. Yeah, so there's a C minor kind of feel. There's the A minor feel, but we've still got the D's in the bass. Oh, maybe it's going between 3 octaves, that bass. There's our G minor one. Are we going to come to rest on the D? Or are we going somewhere else? Squelch, 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 squelch. I don't know what's making that sound. I mean, it must be the bass, but I don't know how it's making that sound. Maybe it's just knocking itself. Yeah. Okay, and there's that B flat. Oh, we did get that at the beginning actually, didn't we? It wasn't such a surprise when we heard it at that time. So this almost felt like a palindrome, this piece of music. We ended the way we started, we got back to the way we started via going backwards. I'd have to listen again to check whether it actually was, but it really does have a feeling of going forwards and then retreating back where we came from. But it's nice, it's really nice. Theft. Okay. Hi-hat. Very clear hi-hat. Actually quite strong hi-hat, which we haven't had much on this album. The drums have always felt a little bit behind everything else, even when they've been distorted to hell, like on Chanson pour mon ombre. I guess the distortion on that one might be the ombre. It might be the shadow. That yeah. In the daytime, we have the acoustic guitar shadow, which is just coming in and out really aggressively. I don't know, freaking you out. Maybe you have a horrible association with shadows. And then in the night we have the drums. Oh my goodness, it's so much stronger now. Something like that. Anyway, back to Theft. We have we have 2 notes, I think. B and D. I'll listen again. And the note comes, then the hi-hat comes, then the next note comes, and then the hi-hat comes. So really keeping us on a slow and minimal beat. Okay, I was wrong. Yeah, so it's... Oh, okay, and there's our next note. Right, this is actually... Oh! Great! We've got an unusual tone signature. So... Expecting that? Maybe if you'd listen to the music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 7 beats, 7 slow ass beats. And we're actually doing the same chord sequence in the same key as I Felt a Funeral. But doesn't feel exactly like that, and that's because the chords are in a different alignment with the first beat. The first beat here is on G sharp, and then we go to B, then we go to C sharp, then we go to D sharp. Also, presumably because I haven't tuned down, we're a little bit sharp on this one as well. On the other one, we started at B, then we went up to C sharp, then to D sharp, and finally we went to G sharp. So this one feels different but similar. There's those squelchy sounds again, and the guitar actually giving us some unexpected note there. It felt like it gave us an A, which would mean a Phrygian mode, a darker thing than we've had thus far. But really it's just letting all those random squeals of feedback come through. Yeah, I think he's using the volume knob again in a similar kind of way. Or she. Okay. I would call this the coward's way out of 7, where they don't try and do anything over the unexpected lack of a beat. Instead it's just open, a little bit more open than normal. But when I call it the coward's way of doing it, I don't mean that it is worse. I mean that it is a safer bet, and it does sound good here. And the melody's pretty simple, na na, basically those two notes, and it's going to go somewhere slightly different now. It's also in octaves again, just a little bit. This time they do have something over the change. I apologise for calling you out like that the first time. Very simple melody. Just going down, ba-da-da, and we're in this key, so we're looking at the G sharp minor pentatonic. These are all the notes that we have in the bass part too. But it's almost like say something, I'm giving up on you, in those triplets. The triplets was what I was going to mention next. So yeah, we have triplets. We didn't hear those triplets in this. Bah, 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 bah. We didn't hear the triplets in there because everything was as slow as it could be. There was no clear divisions of any of those beats. But now we know. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Yeah. This really only takes 2 beats. Does it? Let's just check that again. Da, 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 3 beats. So then it comes in and it fits in a different relationship with that 7. We get the same phrase twice, but it fits differently over the beats because 7 is not a number that you can divide by 3. It's all maths. Yeah, it's very interesting because I wouldn't say it sounds super planned. I think really that the lyrics are being put to it in the most naturalistic way, maybe the first way that they thought. I'm sure they have practiced that. I'm not saying that it was just laid to tape the first time they ever did it, but it sounds like there has not been specific thought given to when which notes should fall, which words should fall on the let's say in quotes, important beats. It feels like we've just got two different machines doing their different feelings together. Well, and then we've also got the guitar doing its own squealy crazy thing. Yeah, the guitar is letting through unusual resonances that don't fit with, like, yeah, that note's coming through, the sharp 4 there. So the guitar is allowing itself, in a way it hasn't done on the previous tracks, to be more off with the rest, which fits with the other two parts being slightly more off than normal with each other too. Now, having said that, I think it's not so planned. This does sound like exactly the same thing we got last time. Well, okay, not quite exactly the same. It's changed now. The through there lingered on like we had in that first track. Squelchy noise. Okay, so I guess there's our third verse, starting like the first. Henry VIII, I am. And this is fitting again, like the first and second have. Yeah, so they are actually doing the same thing. It's just, yeah, after that point there that they change. So if I was gonna illustrate, we get kind of that's the first time, and then the second time sorry. And then, yeah, it's that part there. So I guess the third go round. Is it the third? No, it's the fourth go round where things are a little freer. But the other ones are actually fitting the same way each time, which is an interesting pattern to have deliberately chosen. I wouldn't have expected it, or probably ever done it myself, but I don't think it sounds bad. I think it's a cool set of things to keep going round. It definitely adds to the mood to keep going around like the same way. Same thing here again. And the only thing that is really changing the texture is that guitar, which is almost drowning out the vocals here. Really likes that one at the moment. And yeah, as it does. Getting that kind of thing going on there. Just in the ambience. This feels a little bit different. No, we haven't really had that before. Maybe we've had it once. I'd have to listen to this one again, I think. There's subtleties to it that I haven't quite picked up on just yet. Okay. Okay, and this is our fifth verse, I think. Happening very similar to the other ones. But now we've got two versions of this first thing, which maybe we had the first time. But now it's just doing that. Oh, and everything's fattening, isn't it? I barely noticed. The so big. Bass. It's only the bass and the guitar though. The drums are... Oh, spoke too soon. It sounds like mainly just those. The bass drum is not doing too much. Yeah. But those guys are big enough. And yeah, it's a real strange filter going on the distortion, which makes it brighter and brighter. So we start off and we're very, and then as it gets further, we're getting that higher kind of sound going on in both the guitars there. Yeah, and then suddenly stop, but we have this lingering noise, which dissipates quite quickly, really. All right, 2 more tracks. Quotidian, solemnity. I don't remember what quotidian means. Yes, I do. Quotidian is to do with everyday life, I think. I'm just going to look it up. Hopefully I will be correct. Quotidian. Quotidian. Yeah. Or of or occurring every day, daily, ordinary or everyday, mundane, denoting the malignant form of malaria. Took a wrong turn that last one, didn't we? Very weird. Okay, quotidian, solemnity, with a colon in the middle, which we've had on canon in canon 2. I can't take that apart for you, I don't know why, but I like the idea of quotidian and solemnity being together. It's like, yeah, every day, but also deep and meaningful. I like it. Okay, sudden high note, C sharp, and then suddenly down into the low. But it's all around that C sharp. I think we did have a bit of F sharp before. Yeah, so there's our F sharp, and then we're back to the C sharps. And really all that is going on here is we've got that solid long bar from, I think, the bass and the guitar, and then just the rattling, the hissing and the strange fizzing of the distortions just scratching away at your eardrums. That's all that's going on here. But isn't it an interesting aural experience? Okay, the vocals have entered, and they're in a totally different space. Much softer, much more open reverb. And they're giving us 2 notes over and over, C sharp and E. So we're looking at C sharp minor. This album has only had a few keys. Everything's been pretty closely related in key. Well, we weren't expecting that. Sounds like some vocal harmonies, but they've been put through some distortion too. That's a good point, I suppose. I haven't brought it up previously, but the vocals are not very distorted on this album. They are playing a totally different role to the guitar. The guitars, both of them, are constantly distorted. Well, I say constantly, almost constantly distorted. They're playing this primal energy role, and then maybe the vocal on top of that. I don't want to be patronizing, I don't want to dumb it down, but you could see it in a view of it's taking the sophisticated or the more complex understanding of humanity. So we have this deep down alyrical guitar giving us just raw energy, and then we have the vocals giving us a much more subtle, nuanced experience. Yeah, so we just got Do we get that? Something like that chord. Let's go back again. Yeah. So we've had this C sharp and then yeah, so I think all these vocal harmonies that we've had, which have mainly been octaves, I think really what they are is the main vocal put through a pitch shifter and then also a massive distortion, so you can't even hear that it's the same voice very clearly. Yeah, so it's this triad. There's the main melody, but we do also get up at the top. It's that triad that sits on top of our C sharp that we had before, but I think the C sharp dissipates. Oh no, it's still there. But then, yeah, it feels like it goes up to E and then F sharp after that. And the triad we had there does come down to this one, which is the F sharp triad. So we had that B triad up there on the C sharp, and then we met on the the F sharp triad, F sharp major. So, well, it's interesting, which is my catchphrase it seems, but we had C sharp minor before that. We were not expecting an F sharp major chord. Hey, it's another Dorian mode one. We had Dorian on the beginning. We've had other things too. We had a hint at Phrygian on the last one, and we've had Aeolian on some of the others. Have we had any clearly major ones? I would say not really. In fact, no. All of these are quite dark in the grand scheme of things. There we have it again. Oh yeah. So that time, much more clearly, when we got that, we got the E in the low part, and we got that interesting chord. I don't need to take it apart, but it's a B chord on an E. And then we meet on that Dorian major fourth. Yeah, and it's all doing the same thing, but the distortion keeps adding, whoa, different things. Let's just hear that again. That was weird. Yeah, so I think maybe by design, but because there's a slight pitch inconsistency in the main vocal, does something like that. It makes all the others shift around it as well, which adds a real it's like tape distorting, like if you're playing a tape and then it suddenly rolls too fast. I don't know exactly if that's what's happening when that happens, but yeah, tape can really distort in pitch, especially if it's not been kept well, and that sounds like what just happened there. Cool sound. Really wakes you up from this heavy enveloping quilt. Okay, and now we're back to our kind of first section, our verse section maybe. So this is working very similarly to the previous verse. Doesn't seem like there's much difference. The only difference is the specific distortion that is happening at these particular moments, and maybe some lyrics too. But experientially, all that's changing is how your ear fits to those particular things, and that's such a complex relationship. There's no way I could go into it. And then here is our chorus section. I'm willing to call it a chorus on this one. Yeah, what a cool change. It's such a big change. It's very unlike the other songs we've had, which have not had these big changes in them mostly. Yeah, very nice. it's also quite nice that this one is in straight repetitions of 4 of things, which from the previous one was not the case, so this one feels much more under control, even if we've still got that chomping at the bit guitar. Okay, well, having said that, we seem to be going somewhere else now. So far, we were on a verse, chorus, everything straightforward, but now, is this just the noise coda? What do you think? We're back to our C-sharp main tonality, but that oh, okay. We just had a brief moment of instrumental. Not much happened, and then we came back to our chorus. Yeah. Okay, the distortion is definitely thicker here, and it's defaulting to individual notes more, which is a really interesting thing that's happening. Very strange and yeah, primal feel. Wow. Yeah. Uncaged animal there at the end. Lovely. Moonset. Nice name. Oh, nice soft tremolo-y guitar. Yeah, this feels like almost a normal song. Okay. C minor, we're still probably sharp, which is interesting. We just had the second half of this album be a bit sharp. And then we're sort of looking at, these are not what the guitar is just playing. It's not playing all these notes, but this is more or less what is conveyed by the 2 guitar parts. C minor, F major, Dorian again. Oh, but that F is actually it's an F9. I'm not sure it has the 3rd in either, but yeah, interesting. And the C minor is a C minor 7. Yeah, we don't have the 3rd in there actually, so we can't definitively say it's Dorian. Okay, drums are back. We've been without drums for the past song. Now they're here, just giving us some cymbals. Again, really soft. The melody is not doing too much. We've really got 2 notes, C and B flat. C works well with that one, and in fact we've stopped going to our F, I think, here. Let's just hear it a bit again. Oh no, we haven't. What am I talking about? So there's our C and our F. But yeah, we're not committing to a 3rd there. So it could be an F minor chord in the final analysis. We did just get that note though. A D. Nice. Okay. Well, the drums felt for a moment like they were going to build us into an actual groove there, but then it just fell apart. But the vocals are taking us somewhere else anyway. This is very similar to what we had before, which was just those 2 notes. Now it's just these 2 notes, up a 5th. So it feels like we've just moved this first section up. We're giving more power, more intensity. But the drums are pretty free. There's no bass here as well. It's just 2 guitars, so it feels a lot brighter. Doesn't feel as heavy at all. Yeah, that tremolo in the left ear, blah, 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 is infectious. Sometimes those kind of sounds really get on my nerves because they are I don't know. I don't know what it is actually that gets on my nerves, but I think it's something to do with how the sound just doesn't commit to being on. Anyway, carrying on. Yeah, so very jazzy kind of drum playing, free feel, but actually I think we do have a beat here. It's just a little bit hidden behind everything else. Yeah, I can't work it out though. I can't work out where's one really. I'm mainly working on what's going on in the left ear. Yeah, holding on the C. Yeah, we hold on the C just before the verse comes in. Most of the time we're going between those two chords. But then we hold a bit longer, and that builds the anticipation for then the verse coming in. Very subtle but powerful effect, and we had it on one of the previous ones too, which for the life of me I cannot remember which one it is. I think it's probably Not Speaking of the Ways. I'll have to listen to this one again. So we've gone down in the melody again. Maybe feels a little more movement from the other instruments, but not much. Okay, now the melody's up again. Still got that switch in chords. Ooh. Did we just get a major chord? Oh, there's definitely some major harmonic coming through there of that note. That was unexpected. We're definitely looking at C minor here. I don't think it's a bad thing that happened. It feels in keeping with what is going on here, which feels like bluesy western kind of sounds. This particular one has that connotation to me. Probably because of how the guitars sound. Yeah, they have the ring of like Neil Young's Dead Man score. You could probably argue they sound a bit like the ones from those spaghetti western films as well, and no doubt there are some other western scores that could be compared as well, but those are the ones that jump out at me. Yeah, so the volume does seem to be getting a little larger from everybody. But yeah, we still haven't got that third in that F chord. We did that. And we just needed to go down there, but it didn't happen. We went back up there. And Shadowland. Not committing to a note there in the C chord that we're on. Sorry, C chord there. F in the melody, just da-da-da, going against it for that particular line, which has jumped out at me quite strongly. Yeah, these are some low strung guitars. It might even be a baritone guitar. Oh, down to the C. Nice stuff. That's no doubt another reason it sounds like a western kind of thing. Oh, slightly out of tune, but in a really authentic way. Okay, we've got the distortion back in. We can't get rid of it. It's our mainstay of these songs, this heavy distortion. It's just building on this F chord. Wow. Oh, and now the drums. We've got some toms, we've got some clear snare. We've got, oh my gosh. Wow. It feels like we've been playing a character through all of this, and now we are returning to the God of Rock. Yeah, just holding this crazy. Sorry, not quite that. What is it? sorry. This crazy F9 dissonance. It's soft, but it's not nice to be held for long periods of time. And it's just being held while the drums expand and expand and all the distortion gets heavier and heavier. Yeah. Gosh. And those bits of squealy feedback as well. Okay. I'm not sure if we are still holding it now. The two chords go into each other so subtly. Yeah. We are occasionally coming back to just a C minor tonality here, but the F is being held pretty heavy. The bass is obviously in now as well. Yeah, so it's our classic thick texture, but those drums are giving us something we've never come across on this album so far. Such clarity, such a full drum kit. I don't think we've had toms at all so far. Yeah, we've just got one more guitar just a little bit up. Doing this kind of thing. Just maybe a little more melody than the other parts. With some interesting notes coming through. Yeah, it really feels like these are probably one-take things. Everyone just recorded together, and they made this wonderful thing, composition, song. Yeah, this is our outro. So before we just end here, what structure did this have? We had basically a two-part verse with this low melody and this. We had a little bit of a instrumental between our two-part verses, and then we ended on an unexpected melody note, and then the distortion came in and led us to our grave. And the chaos of flowers was poured upon the grave. The lowly watchers watched on in disappointment and love. And then it fades. Gosh. Yeah, and a much slower fade at the end of the album there as well. I think these guys are one of a kind. I think that there's something incredible in what they're doing. That is, I mean, so you could make a connection to bands like Sun, who also have slow, sludgy guitars. Nothing is moving too fast, but Sun also don't have song, in my experience at least. I know they've worked with Scott Walker, but and I can't remember how that goes. But Sun are much more about the whole ambience. I want to say ambience, and I'm going to start saying ambience. I don't know why I've been saying ambience. Whatever. Ambience is more about the ambience. It's less about the song. And here it feels like they've got both of those together in a way that I don't think anyone else has. This is a lot more reserved, this album, than the previous album. I think the previous album has a load more really aggressive songs on it. So I would listen to these two in connection with each other. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I think that they are really cool. And once you've got a particular sound, which they definitely do, all you need to do with it is find different settings. You don't need to change it up. These guys, if they keep on doing the same thing, they will have an incredibly loyal fan base, I'm sure. I certainly see no reason to abandon this ship when it's so well crafted. that was nice. Let's end there. Bye.